Despite how many times I've read Harry Potter, I would have no idea how to get around Hogwarts. Like, my knowledge of where things are in the castle is very limited. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you what floor the Gryffindor common room is on, or where the library is. And don't even try to get me to explain the grounds outside the castle. Literally, the only thing I know is that the prefect's bathroom is on the 5th floor.
It's not a bad place for a bar.
Honestly, Harry's reaction to that is one of the best things in the films. He's so confused and he's just like, sorry, you what? A bath? Why are you making it so vague? Just tell me I need to put the egg underwater. I bluntly told you about the dragon. But anyway, I've made it my mission in the last few weeks to learn where everything is in the Hogwarts castle in case my letter ever does arrive. I'm still waiting. And to be honest, I believe I've been quite successful in this mission. I think I've got quite a good working knowledge of the Hogwarts castle now. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Because oh my, while learning about this, I made an exciting discovery. Hello there, how are you doing? Okay, so there's one room in particular in the Hogwarts castle we're going to be focusing on today, and that's the disused classroom Harry found the Mirror of Erised in the Philosopher's Stone. Because one of the few things in Harry Potter I struggled to get my head around is why the Mirror of Erised was being stored in this random unused classroom during Harry's first year. Perfectly placed for Harry to just stumble across it while he's running away from Filch after being caught in the restricted section one winter's night. Like, why wasn't the Mirror of Erised kept in the underground chambers where it was at the end of the film right from the start? Because the only reason I can think of is plot convenience. It's there so Harry can come across it early on and learn how it works, so it makes sense when he uses it to retrieve the Philosopher's Stone later in the book. And that is quite possibly the biggest piece of plot convenience in the entire Harry Potter series. Okay, maybe not the biggest piece of plot convenience. The fact that Harry guesses the password to the headmaster's office so he can view Snape's memories and realizes he has to die. Yeah, but it's a close second. Also, my video on Harry drinking liquid luck before the Battle of Hogwarts would recommend. But while it might seem like plot convenience, my job here is to prove that it's not. And I've done my calculations to where this disused classroom is, and I don't even think it is a disused classroom. I think that Harry has unintentionally and unknowingly discovered the Room of Requirement. And the evidence for this is overwhelming. According to Dobby in the Order of the Phoenix, the Room of Requirement is a room that a person can only enter when they have real need for it. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But when it appears, it is always equipped for the seeker's needs. And a perfect example of this is Dumbledore's use of the Room of Requirement in the Goblet of Fire. Only this morning, for instance, I took a wrong turning on the way to the bathroom and found myself in a beautifully proportioned room I'd never seen before, containing a rather magnificent collection of chamber pots. And while you probably all know exactly how the Room of Requirement works already, I bring Dumbledore's story to your attention because it's almost 100% not true. But you know, I'll get back to that. Because the question probably on all of your minds is, did Harry have real need for the Room of Requirement when he found this disused classroom in the Philosopher's Stone? And I think yes, most definitely. He was sneaking around the castle after hours, albeit with an invisibility cloak, but both Filch and Snape were on the lookout for him. Harry stood rooted to the spot as Filch and Snape came round the corner ahead. They couldn't see him, of course, but it was a narrow corridor, and if they came much nearer, they'd knock right into him. The cloak didn't stop him from being solid. Harry needed to get out that corridor so they wouldn't walk into him and he wouldn't get caught walking around Hogwarts after hours, and then almost as if by magic, this disused classroom appears. A door stood ajar to his left. It was his only hope. He squeezed through it, holding his breath, trying not to move it, and to his relief he managed to get inside the room without their noticing anything. And a disused classroom is like the perfect place to hide, unlike the Room of Hidden Things. I'm sorry, Voldemort, that was a terrible place to hide your diadem. Because from Snape and Filch's perspective, it would look like just any other classroom, whereas the Room of Hidden Things has this huge door, and they'd probably wonder why they've never noticed this room before. But I hear you asking, okay, maybe he had use for the room the first time, but how did he find it the second and the third time? Like Dobby literally says, mostly people stumbles across it when they needs it, sir, but often they never finds it again. And Harry successfully manages to find it 3 times. But both of these times, the Room of Requirement had good reason to reveal this classroom to him. The second time, Harry wants to show the Mirror of Erised to Ron, and the Room of Requirement reveals the room with the Mirror of Erised in it. And the third time, he wants to spend the night with his parents, and the way of doing this is by looking into the Mirror of Erised. So again, the Room of Requirement provides. Okay, if you're not buying it, I understand, but let me ask you a question. Do you know where the disused classroom is? Because I think the unclear description hints at it having the same location as the Room of Requirement. We know that the Room of Requirement is on the 7th floor opposite an enormous tapestry depicting Barnabas the Barney's foolish attempt to train the trolls for the ballet. And while we don't get an exact location of this disused classroom because Harry had been so busy getting away from the library, he hadn't paid attention to where he was going. Thanks, Harry! If you'd paid attention, we could have ended this theory a whole lot earlier. However, we do get a vague description. He came to a sudden halt in front of a tall suit of armour. Perhaps because it was dark, he didn't recognise where he was at all. There was a suit of armour near the kitchens, he knew, but he must be at least 5 floors above there. I knew all this studying would come in handy. The kitchens are directly below the Great Hall, which is on the 1st floor, meaning Harry must be above the 4th floor. It checks out, 7 floors above the 4th floor. Okay, yeah, that was a semi-decent point at best. But don't worry, I'm not expecting you to be sold yet. The evidence so far isn't exactly what I'd call concrete. But that's because I've been saving best for last and just let me bring your attention to the Pottermore page on the Mirror of Erised, which I think as good as confirms this theory. Only after Professor Dumbledore makes key modifications to the mirror, which has been languishing in the Room of Requirement for a century or so before he brings it out and puts it to work, does it become a superb hiding place and the final test for the impure of heart. That's my mic, by the way. I just dropped the mic. That is an excerpt from Pottermore, a writing by J.K. Rowling that confirms that Dumbledore was working on the Mirror of Erised in the Room of Requirement before he put it to work. Which is, of course, referring to how he moved it into the underground chambers and placed an enchantment on the mirror, hiding the Philosopher's Stone inside it somehow, allowing it to transfer the stone to only someone who wanted to find the stone and not use it. I'm done. Thanks for watching. Which firstly proves that Dumbledore was lying when he told the story of how he found the Room of Requirement in the Goblet of Fire, which isn't important at all to this video. I just promised I'd get back to that earlier, and here we are. And secondly, it provides so much evidence for this theory. This means that when Harry found the mirror on that winter's night, Dumbledore was still working on the enchantment to hide the stone inside, and therefore the mirror was still in the Room of Requirement because Dumbledore was putting it to work. This means that Dumbledore would have been frequently visiting the Room of Requirement in Harry's first year to hide the stone inside the mirror. And coincidentally, the timing of when Dumbledore finished this enchantment collided with Harry's 3rd visit, which is why he revealed to Harry he was moving it to the underground chambers then, rather than at the start of the year.
Tomorrow, it will be moved to a new home. And I must ask you not to go looking for it again.
This actually makes perfect sense. Harry discovered the Room of Requirement in his first year, and what's crazy is he never realised. Because after Dumbledore tells him not to go looking for the room again, the disused classroom is never mentioned again. So therefore, he never came across the classroom again and never questioned why. And he never found out specifically where the room was. So therefore, when the Room of Requirement appeared to him in some of its many forms over the years, he never stopped to question that it might be the disused classroom from his first year. Boom. I'm so proud of this, so you better leave a like. And that is all I've got for you guys today. Make sure to go follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 20k, help a brother out. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe by clicking here. You can watch another video by clicking here. Check out my other social medias in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.